Really, really, really rewarding and satisfactory to see all of you guys. I never thought I would say this, but I kind of miss you guys. I haven't had a chance to spend a little time with you and just to see you and get a chance to see you face to face. And you guys asked me a couple questions I think is great. I'll start this off by stating the obvious. What an unbelievable win by Coach Doran and his staff and his football team. It was tremendous. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was jumping up and down. If you got any pictures of me, please don't put it out there because I kind of lost my composure a little bit. I thought our fan base was tremendous. It's the best environment that I've seen since I've been here going into year 5. And what I would love to say is I know Coach Doran will say this all the time. I know he says it. Even after halftime, everybody came back in, and it was unbelievable. And now everybody has to come to every game, no matter who we playing. You have to come back in the stadium, obviously after halftime, because that's big for our team, and we expect that. So just tremendous. It was great. It was wonderful. And hopefully you guys had a chance to be here. And I really think I saw a couple people run on the floor. I'm on the field and start jumping up and down, but I won't identify names at this moment right now. Basketball. I'm excited. We're trying to get back. The thing that you guys are going to hear from me is we're trying to get back to normal and try to get into some type of routine. As you guys know, last year, everybody's routine was kind of messed up. We didn't have a routine. We didn't know what was going to happen and what wasn't going to happen. Though I'm not claiming that the pandemic is over, because it's not, we still are getting back to some things of being able to be normal. When I walked out of, when I was at PNC and I walked out of the locker room and I would walk on the floor, it was just a different environment. We just didn't have a lot of fans there. Most time it was friends and family. And I'm hoping that we get to the point where, we're selling out PNC as we've done in the past. This program has been a program that's been top 25 since 1999. And because of the pandemic, it kind of hurt us a little bit. We played tremendously at home for the years that I've been here, and we kind of want that home court advantage. And so I want to get the guys back in the seats and the stands. Guys like Cam Hayes, who was a freshman, didn't get a chance to experience what PNC is all about. And then we've got the new 5 guys, the 3 freshmen, 2 transfers who deserve to play in front of a crowd. So hopefully we can get there. My team, we're working extremely hard. We're excited about really getting going tomorrow, starting. But I like our team. I like our pieces. One of the biggest challenges is when you bring in 5 guys, with 5 new guys with the guys that's returning, then you look at it that the biggest thing, that my biggest challenge early on is developing chemistry. And so everything that we've done up to this point is trying to figure out how to get guys to play together, which combinations are going to play better together, who looks well in this situation. And I've got a lot of pieces to think about this team. I think that you guys will like is that we got several guys that can play multiple positions. I'm excited about the veterans who are returning. Unfortunately, when Devin Daniels went down, we had to shift everything, but it helped some guys grow. As you know, Manny's gotten better. Jericho was able to play a lot on the perimeter. We were able to add C-Ron to the mix, and I thought Cam Hayes had a tremendous freshman year under the circumstances. And then our 3 freshmen are talented. They will play. A couple of those guys you will see in the starting lineup at times. I'm not saying that they're going to start from day one, but they'll make their way in there. And then I love our 2 transfers, Casey Morcell, who is going to be really good in our system, and Greg Gann. And then you add the other guys that's returning and some of those guys who are younger, who didn't play, who have kind of matured over the summer and has gotten better with their basketball and changed their bodies a little bit. Then we've got some great pieces that I got to fit together to be a very good basketball team. So I'll take some questions for you guys and look forward to hearing it.
Go ahead, Mike.
Good afternoon, Coach. It's very nice to see you too. You made me feel good when we started here today, so thank you, Coach. I wanted to ask you, you touched on the fan base and especially being back at home, but how much are you and your players looking forward to getting in front of those crowds, especially when you talk about ACC basketball, having those crowds be such a big part of the atmosphere and the game experience?
Yeah, Mike, I'm excited about that. I know it'll be a little different with an indoor sport. And I will tell you here at NC State, we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that our fans are comfortable and to protect our players and our fans. But I'm excited about that opportunity. This is, as you guys know, we have the most passionate fans in the country. And just to have those guys in the house, I can point to many, many games that we've been able to win just over my years here, where our fans were a big part of that success. And just to have those students, have regular fans, alumni, and everybody in PNC, it's worth 10 points at times.
Go ahead, Jonas.
Good morning, Coach. Well, good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon, Jonas.
I wanted to ask you, this might be I might actually answer your question for you with my question, but I know all that matters is that he's here now, but you talked about chemistry and moving pieces. The rumors over the summer that Manny might leave, but he's still here. Was that a real threat that he might have left, and how big is it that he actually is back and improving this summer?
You didn't answer it, Jonas, but you touched on it. I think in today's time, and I think you guys know this, you cover football and basketball and most of the other sports, there's always an opportunity for a kid to leave your program with the new transfer portal. I think every kid, along with every coaching staff, should evaluate their players, and then players have to figure out if this is the right place to get you where you need to be. I will say this, I think most people, I don't know how it came out, I think a lot of people jumped the gun and assumed that Manny Bates was leaving, which I didn't. I felt comfortable about it. Manny and I have always had a tremendous relationship. His mom and I have had a tremendous relationship. And, there was never one point that I felt like that, hey, Manny's going to go anywhere. But of course, when someone starts saying it a lot and you start listening, you say, oh man, is there something there? But from our standpoint, we prepared for him to be here, and we're excited that he's back. He's a good player. He's gotten better. He's gotten better from the day he walked in here to right now. He's become, obviously, when he was here, he was more of a defensive player coming in the door. And I think you guys saw some glimpses of how good he can be offensively. And he's worked extremely hard in the offseason to, change his body, increase his range. We've stepped him out to 18 feet and be able to make some shots, but he also shooting threes now. And so I like the direction he's going in. He's a leader. He will be one of the leaders on that team, and we're expecting a big year from him.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead, James.
Hey, Kevin, hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you about Casey Morsell. You don't often see a guy transfer within conference, but just did that give you a really unique opportunity to evaluate him and kind of talk about what you have been able to see from him and his potential fit?
Yeah, James, the rules have changed so much. Before, if you were to transfer in conference, there was a great chance that you would have to sit out. But with the new transfer rules, you can almost transfer anywhere you want to. I remember seeing Casey Morsell in high school, top 50 player, could really shoot the basketball, could get out in transition, and was a great defender. And certainly he picked up a lot of great things playing for Coach Bennett at Virginia. I just felt like when we took him, he would be better in our system and the way we play. Certainly that's no knock against Virginia, because Tony's done a tremendous job there, and he's been on some great teams that won a lot of games. I think for what we needed in this particular moment, he will be better in our situation. And he's a good player. He's starting to, feel different about himself. He's playing a little bit more. He's understanding what his value is here. And he'll have a chance to start here. And I think that's a big selling point for him.
And just to follow up, when you take a transfer and bring in a guy who maybe wasn't a top end rotation player, didn't play a ton of minutes, is that something you have to kind of work with as a coach, maybe building their confidence back up and stressing the potential fit for you?
James, it wasn't I don't think it's a confidence thing. If you guys know NC State basketball, Virginia, we completely play different. Mm-hmm. And I just had to get him, back to practicing and playing the way we need him to play to be successful for us.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to know a little bit more about, I guess, with your sophomores, Sebron and Cam Hayes with them, getting a chance to have a lot of playing time last year and with some success with them. How are you looking for them to step up in certain ways for this season to become leaders of their own, to help out with the freshmen, but then also help out with some of the transfers coming in, since they did have to go through COVID and they do have a year under their belt right now?
Yeah, Chris, thanks for that question. Quite frankly, those guys probably benefited more than anybody as far as a playing time opportunity last year, because they were both able to get on the floor early as freshmen. Even though they didn't experience a true environment of PNC and being able to play in front of big crowds, I think their game experience has really paid off for them. When you see Cam Hayes, you're going to see a different guy. He's got bulk on him now. He's a guy who's really hit the weight room, and we've done a better job with Sebron. Sebron's we worked on in the offseason, really helping him, be able to make his outside shot. As you guys know, he's more of a slasher than anything. But I think both of those guys are playing with tremendous confidence because of the opportunity they had. It's hard to deny that these guys were part of a team that kind of won 5 road games in a row, and both of those guys were instrumental in making that happen.
And I also wanted to know if you're satisfied with the vaccination status of everyone on the team.
Yeah, man, I didn't know how long it was going to take, Chris, for somebody to get to that. But we are, my entire program, managers, staff, coaches, players are all vaccinated. Everybody who is eligible. We have one person in our tier 1 that's not eligible until mid-November. But everybody that's eligible has a vaccination right now.
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, Kevin, I understand you had some recruits in on the Saturday that saw the football victory and how the celebration went. How much can something like that, to see that atmosphere, to see that celebration, how much can that help in you possibly reeling those guys in?
Well, Todd, I don't want to get in trouble about talking about future recruits. But what I will say is, how can you not like that atmosphere from Saturday? It was tremendous. And like I said, I thought, I know our players who are currently on this team, I know all of them today recommitted to us just because of that atmosphere. It was tremendous.
Go ahead, Justin.
Coach, good to see you, sir. I know you talked about Cam Hayes, having a good year considering the circumstances of last year, but it was clear that the freshmen, had some growing pains because they didn't have a summer to spend with you and the team. And it was, they got in the fall and it was such a quick turnaround. How much do you think getting the freshmen in this summer for this class is going to have an impact on the court this season for those guys?
Well, it's been, the freshmen that's coming in are already a little ahead of the freshmen from last year. For example, Cam Hayes, he's the one who really played a lot of minutes, but you're also talking about EDB Dewan and Jalen Gibson. Sebron was here because he was an academic redshirt. But just by being able to get those guys on campus and them to interact with us and be able to practice with us has made a big difference. And those guys now have taken a big step, opposed to them just coming in the fall, right as school started, and being thrown into the fire. They were able to adapt to everything before we got to that situation.
And I have a separate question for you about your roster makeup, because last year you had, DJ and Manny down low, so you went bigger. That kind of evolved as the year went about with, the personnel challenges that you had after Daniels was hurt. But going into this year, you've got maybe some front court depth questions or maybe just some unproven talent behind Manny Bates. Do you think you're going to continue to go big this year? Or are you going to go back to more of a guard heavy lineup like you like to have?
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to have a huge question about, I think when you see some of our younger guys who have developed, certainly we know Manny's going to be the focal point as the big man inside. But we'll have some guys who are able to come in and play minutes, and hopefully we don't drop off. Now, of course, they're not Manny Bates. Manny's, he's got a chance to be an all-conference guy as a post. But we'll play similar, but we'll play different too. And what I mean by that is, I've been able to see guys like Jericho Helms be able to play as a small forward. we can always go back to him and kind of play what I call a big guard. He's no longer considered a 4-man in our system. We call them big guards. And so I've got a lot of guys who could play that DJ Funderburg role, but they're big guards. That's Jericho can play it. You got a guy like Greg Gant can play it. You also have Ernest Ross, and then you got a guy like Jalen Gibson. And so we've got at least 4 guys that can play a little bit more perimeter than what DJ gave us. And so we can also, even though we're bigger, we might not be as big, but we'll have nice size, but those guys will give us a presence from the outside.
Go ahead, Jonas.
But you've thrown the word confidence around a lot in mentioning your sophomores. In high school, Traquavion Smith was probably one of the most confident players I ever saw on the basketball court. How's that translated to his college games? He's still that confident, fearless basketball player that we saw at Farmville Central?
You know, Jonas, if I take myself back 10 years, because, you know, I'm really young, I would say he's a bucket. I mean, he scores the basketball. He loves to play. One of my biggest things with him is to get him to work out as hard as he competes. And what I mean by that is if I put somebody in there and I call it a competition, boy, his energy level goes to another level. He's one of the most competitive guys that I know. And what we're trying to get him is to be consistent when there is not a competition. You're just working on different things. But he can score the ball. He's a really good basketball player. Jonas, it's going to be really, really hard to keep him out of the starting lineup at times.
And is that confidence, that energy that we're used to seeing him play with at the prep level? Is it spreading? Is it contagious when guys are around him, kind of just picking up his energy? Because every time we see him, he's always talking, energetic and upbeat.
No, he's got a tremendous personality. You don't see that personality very often, and especially in today's kid. And it's infectious. He can get guys to play with him. He loves to play. He loves the gym. He's talented. He knows that he came to a program where, as a guard, he's going to have tremendous freedom, and I think that's going to help him along the way.
Go ahead, James.
Kevin, you've obviously recruited the state hard. A lot of your players are from the state, but I haven't had a chance to see much from Ernest Ross. Can you just talk about his game? He's out of Florida, so I didn't really get to see a lot of him on AAU and all. Just evaluate his game.
Yeah, James, long, athletic, runs the floor, maybe the fastest big we have, the fastest of the guys that we have that's at least 6'5" and above. He can play both forward spots. You know, we'll play him some as a forward, and as he gets a little bit comfortable, we'll transition him into some of that small forward area. But surprisingly, really can shoot it from outside. He's probably our best shot blocker on our team other than Manny Bates. Long, athletic, rebounds, a tremendous offensive rebounder.
And I think you touched on this a minute ago, but is your hope that him and Greg can kind of help fill that Funderburg role?
Well, I think we'll get that in a different way. I think it'll be, Ernest Ross. I think it'll be Greg Gant. I think sometime you'll see Jericho move back to where he's at. The only difference in, Jericho playing in that position, if you guys remember a few years back, that was the position that we had Torin Doran. He led us in scoring and rebounding. Jericho does it a little bit different because this year we're going to allow him to come off ball screens, but he can really shoot it. He's one of our better three-point shooters on our team. And so when you look at those 3 guys, and then you add if we have to go a little bit more, if we're going 2 bigs, then you can always add, a guy like Jalen Gibson in there. And honestly, there's times where Manny Bates could play some 4 and we could put an EB Dewana in if we needed to.
Thank you.
All right, last question for Coach. It'll come from Tim Peeler.
Hey, Coach, good to see you.
Hey, Tim.
You came here knowing that you would be recruiting against and playing against 2 Hall of Fame coaches, and things are just a little bit different now with Roy's resignation, the last year of Coach K. Can you talk a little bit about how things might have changed for you, your reception, how people see or feel about you now that you're getting ready not too long from now to being the dean of Triangle coaches?
Well, I hope that everybody still likes what we're doing here. I don't think those guys, and by the way, 2 Hall of Fame guys and certainly they've had tremendous careers. I don't think that changes how they look at, the way I'm going to do my job. We're going to go out there and we're going to recruit the guys that we feel like fit NC State and play the system that we play in. And, time will tell. It's early. I don't like to be called the older guy in the triad. I don't. But at the end of the day, I'm excited about that. I'm the coach at NC State. And to me, Tim, that's really the only thing that matters.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Manny
guys.
Bates will be
Everybody.
joining us shortly.
Yeah, everybody be blessed. See you guys soon.